Okay, and we are live. Good morning, good afternoon, good day. Just depends on where you are in the world and when you are watching. Just want to thank you for tuning in to Lyonsview Realty Financial Fridays. My name is Clara Lyons-DeVaughn, and I am the broker owner of Lyonsview Realty. We provide residential, commercial for small businesses and nonprofits and property management services. Um, our goal is to help you stay current on trends that impact your bottom line, and we provide you with resources, information, tips on things that assist you in making the best financial decisions. So I just want to welcome you for joining me today. I'm so glad that you tuned in, and feel free to like and share this video. Today, we're going to talk about something really important, which is knowing your numbers, right? Uh, And I just want to ask, do you know your numbers? So, from the day you were born, there are the numbers that were associated with identifying who you are and your life experience. These numbers, in some cases, give value to your life experience, and they have an intrinsic value as to how others perceive you. So it's important not only to know these numbers, but to also know how they are created or how they're calculated. So the first number that's associated with your life experience are your age, the day you were born from today, get that by subtracting, your address, and your social security number. As the years go by, your age increases, your address changes, but your social security number, now that one, it follows you forever. And it's probably one of the most important numbers you need to know about yourself during your life experience. So, how and when did you get your social security number? Most people don't even remember because your social security number is typically assigned to you at birth. Most people apply for their child's social security number at the hospital so that by the time your child gets their first job, that number is already in place. Applying for the social security number is voluntary for newborn babies, so you don't have to do it. The hospital, they'll usually take care of everything related to the filing for the social security number and for the birth certificate. So when you give your information for your baby's birth certificate at the hospital, you'll be asked also if you want to apply for the social security number for that baby. If you say yes, you need to provide both parents' social security numbers if you have that information. So your social security number will stay with you until the day you die. And it's unique to only YOU. So it's a number that most people know, and it's a number that most people remember. The Social Security Administration, they don't reuse your Social Security number. So nobody else is going to get it after you die. It's unique to you. And the SSA, they even estimate that there are enough new number combinations, excuse me, to last well into the next several generations. And I do not have my water. So, why do you need a Social Security number? Because your Social Security number, it lets you collect benefits and income. It lets you file and collect tax refunds. It lets you establish insurance. You can establish credit. You can track your debts, make purchases, and set up most major accounts like your phone number, your website, establishing your residency, being able to use your health insurance. You need a Social Security number. And someone was asking if getting a birth certificate at birth is voluntary, can you go through life without a social security number? The answer is yes, you can. And there are many things that don't require a social security number. You can obtain life insurance, not health insurance, but you can obtain life insurance if you don't have a social security number. You will, however, need an important document, and that document is an individual taxpayer identification number. It's called an ITIN. Thanks for asking that question. So, why are we talking about your social security number? Your social security number creates a history of your life experience. So not only do you need to protect your social security number, but you need to know the status of all the things that are attached to it. So check that occasionally. The next numbers that are important are your income, yes, your expenses, yes, and your debt numbers. Your income impacts so many things. It impacts your standard of living, where you live in the world, the city, the neighborhood, the street. If you're homeless, there are only some streets you can have access to. On the flip side, if you have income far exceeding your expenses, you can live anywhere in the world. It impacts how you live. Do you have the money for the basics? Food, clothing, shelter, transportation, health, disability, life and burial insurances? Do you have funds to cover you when you have no income or when you stop working? You can check out Lyonsview Realty Financial Friday. We've got videos on insurance, on investment and savings. All of those things get you straight in those areas. Do you have extra funds, or do you have credit that you can leverage for gadgets, for travel? The list goes on and on and on. So I'm going to pause here for a minute because there is an important relationship that I want you to be aware of that many people really gloss over and they take it for granted. It's the relationship between your income and your expenses. Let me say it again. It's the relationship between your income and your expenses, right? So since the beginning of time, we've traded our services for things. Sometimes it was for money or currency. Sometimes we traded it for services for the things that we need. And what are some of those things that we need? The basics: food, clothing, shelter, and everything else. And I'll call everything else the extras, right? So you got the basics and you have the extras. And your extras, they include the seconds, embellishments, and upgrades. So what is that? The seconds. The second is that second pair of shoes, that second shirt, that second hat, that second bag, or anything other than the clothes on your back right now. It includes your TV, the car, the extra bedroom, the extras. They're the seconds. Then you have the embellishments. What's an embellishment? Watches, jewelry, carpet, hardwood floors, granite counters, certain color walls or cabinets. Those things that make you more beautiful, make your place more beautiful, those are embellishments. And then you have the upgrades. And what's an upgrade? That's the brand name versus the box name. That's having the Apple or having the Nike or the Chucks. It's the upgrade. Okay, so you get the picture. All that, those are all extras. So in our relationship between income and expenses, we've convinced ourselves that we need all of these extras. No judgment. You can have what you want. If you know your numbers, and at the end of the day, you are on the positive side of those numbers, you can have peace of mind about having the basics: food, clothing, and shelter, and the extra, the seconds, the embellishments, and the upgrades. So there are a lot of numbers that are important to your financial health, but at the core are income, expenses, cash flow, and debt to income. These are those financial indicators that will provide financial leverage and financial peace in both your day-to-day and also in your future. So let's look at each of these and how we calculate them. Your income, real simple. It's the money that you receive, especially on a regular basis for work or through investments. It could be your salary if you work for an employer, your earnings, your pay, your dividends, money, gifts from others, your trust fund, and allowance, alimony. It's money received regardless of the source or the frequency. That's your income. And that's why for this exercise, we're only going to look at the month as a category for review, but you can track that income daily, you can track it weekly, you can track it monthly, you could track it quarterly, but you should know that number. You need to know what your income is for each month and what it was for last month. And if you're on a regular pay cycle, what it'll be for, wait for it, next month, right? At a minimum, you want to record this monthly income in a notebook, on an app, online, write it down, record it, but you need to know this number. The next number that you need to know are your expenses, right? The expenses are the costs required for something, the money spent on something, the cost, the price, the charge, the outlay, the fee, the tariff, the toll, the levy, the payment. It is an expense. So expenses can be fixed, they can be variable, they can be recurring, or they can be discretionary. And most one-time expenses are discretionary. That's that one and done. You buy that bag, you paid for it, one and done. So fixed basically means you pay the same amount each time. That's like your rent, your mortgage. Variable is that means basically the amount may change each time, mainly due to usage, electricity, groceries, gas. You pay those, but the cost of what you pay varies from time to time. Or it could be recurring. And this means that the charge happens on a set frequency or schedule that you know in advance. And you pay that until the item is paid off, or the use of the service is eliminated or terminated, right? So that could be monthly, it could be quarterly, annually, or some other set time. It could be weekly, bi-weekly, biannually, bi-monthly. It could be 3 times a year, but it recurs. And then discretionary, we already talked about. That's one and done. And then the last number, or not the last one, but the next number that you need to know is your cash flow. That is your income minus your expenses. So once you know your income and you know your expenses, you can calculate your cash flow. Income minus expenses. And why is this important? If at the end of the month you consciously know these numbers and you use what you know to make choices, and you use what you know to make spending decisions that keep you in the positive, then you can begin to impact your life experience. You can begin to save. You can begin to invest. You can begin to increase your ability to leverage your financial position for your future. Yes. So that last number that we're going to talk about today is debt to income. Yes, yes, and yes. So now that you know your income, you know your expenses, you can calculate your debt to income. So many banks use mostly fixed expenses divided by income. Fixed expenses divided by income. Those expenses that you're obligated to pay each month, like your rent, existing loans, and insurance, house, and other. For the purpose of this exercise, I want you to look at all of your expenses, all of them. So if you are using over 100% of your income, you don't have any room to save. You don't have any room to invest, and you cannot leverage your finances for the future. You'll also be pressed if you have an urgent financial issue or emergency to address in the present. You are spending and living above your means. So look at that number if it's over 100%. If this is you, it's time to face the financial beat and look at your spending more closely. You can do that alone. You can do it with the family. You can do it with an accountability partner. And if you get an accountability partner to help you look at your numbers, it's best to get an accountability partner who will tell you the truth, who will tell you you don't need that bag, who will tell you you don't need that item, who will tell you, oh, you're overspending on your coffee. It is not a fixed expense. It's a discretionary one and done expense. You can put that in your grocery budget versus in that one and done budget. That's an area that you might be able to cut. But whoever you get to help you, just do it. Write down your expenses, write down your income, do your debt to income, all of the money that you're spending on a monthly basis, all of the expenses that you're spending on a monthly basis over the income. And if that's over 100%, you need to look and see where you can cut some money. Just do it. Just do it. And do it every month at a minimum. So most experts recommend that you save some money. And you can only save money if you're not spending all of your money. They recommend that you save 20% of your income each month. And that's based on the 50-30-20 budgeting method, which suggests that you spend 50% of your income on essentials, rent, groceries, gas, those things that you have to get through the day, that you save 20%, and that you leave 30% of your income for discretionary purposes. For tithers, that's 50-30-10-10, where you tithe 10% and you save 10%. So 50-30-10-10 for my tithers out there. You know who you are. So if you don't have 20% left over after all of your expenses, it's time to change it up, my friend. Bottom line, your goal is to get at least to the ability to live on 80% of your income. To get to this, you must know your base numbers. Know your base numbers. So if you don't know what your numbers are, you're not in control of your financial health. So once you know these base numbers, then you can know what you can afford for that next gadget, the house, the car, the vacation. Then you can set goals on how to increase your income or how to reduce your spending. Then you can get to have the things that you want and the lifestyle that you desire. Know your numbers. Know your numbers. So I just want to thank you so much for joining me today for Lyonsview Realty Financial Fridays. Our goal is to provide you with resources, information, and tips to assist you in making the best financial decisions that help you now and in the future. And sometimes it's just that simple. Knowing your expenses, knowing your income, subtracting them, knowing your debt to income ratio. Simple, simple, simple. But I hope that you receive something of value today. And speaking of numbers, I went to send my YouTube URL to someone who wanted to get on my page, to watch some of the videos. And I discovered that it was some obscure number that, if you're on YouTube, even if you're on YouTube, you can't get to my YouTube page by just typing in Lyonsview Realty Financial Fridays. I will not come up. You have to type in this obscure number. So if you don't have that obscure number, you can't get to the goodies on my page. That is a major bummer. So there's all of this great content, and it's really not discoverable for the folks who are trying to find Lyonsview Realty Financial Fridays. Knowing this is my first goal, my YouTube goal, is to get over 100 subscribers. So if you are already subscribed, thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate you. But I need to get to 100 subscribers for you to be able to type in youtube.com or type in Lyonsview Realty Financial Fridays and for my content to come up. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to Lyonsview Realty Financial Fridays on YouTube. I put the link in the comment section. You can go to bit.ly/LVR subscribe. That's LVR subscribe. LVR is capped subscribed is not. Please, if you could, that's the goal. You can help me if you've enjoyed any video, if you're watching this video, if you watched a video in the past, go to YouTube or go to bit.ly/LVR subscribe, which will take you to my YouTube page. You don't have to type in that obscure thing and just hit the subscribe button. Our goal is to have the LVR Financial Fridays name on our URL so that you or anyone can find the channel and it's easy to share. So I need at least 75 of you, listeners, family, friends of friends, to subscribe on YouTube so that this goal can be a reality for me. I want to thank you in advance for supporting Lyonsview Realty Financial Fridays. I continue to send prayers out to anyone who's affected by this pandemic. If you have lost anyone, if you have someone in the hospital and you can't be with them for whatever reason, if you are experiencing the effects of physical distancing. And I give a special shout out to our essential workers, our healthcare, transportation, police, fire, and especially our leadership. Shout out to our new leadership. Wearing my pearls today. I'm just really excited for where we are going moving forward. And I want you to move forward too and be ready. Know your numbers. My name is Clara Lyons-DeVaughn, and Lyonsview Realty Financial Fridays streams on Facebook and YouTube. So you can join us on Fridays at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. And until then, I want you to keep living your best life.